I mean, Gervonta Davis has he has a clause.
10 pounds or something.
Yeah.
So is Gervonta, especially in the pocket. I mean,
Gervonta in the pocket is a monster.
Oh my god, he reminds me like a little Tyson.
He's short and he conserves his punches. Where like the first few rounds, he throws very few punches.
He's just measuring. He's a computer, man.
Yep.
He's just getting the.
Prior to his battle with Gervonta Davis, Joe Rogan warned Jake Paul on his broadcast to pull himself up, away from the conflict. Joe Rogan, who had previously shown no worry regarding the fight's discrepancy. In the past, he believed that the skill gap was absurd. However, Jake Paul's weight advantage would compensate for it.
Or that can end it.
He finds these openings and he sees them, but he doesn't go after them right away. He waits for the right time. He's so patient. Like when you watch the early rounds of his fights, he probably has the lowest punch count in the early round. But he also knows he's got that nuclear option that if he can crack you, most likely he's going to take you.
The combat, in my opinion, starts out unevenly before leveling out. Joe Rogan stated on his show that the winner would be the one who could best utilize his advantage because one had the skills and the other had the size. However, Joe Rogan has now chosen Gervonta Davis's talent over Jake Paul's size after watching additional footage from the lightweight champion's training camp and how he has been managing his heavyweight sparring partners. Gervonta Davis is pushing himself to the limit by sparring opponents who are nearly twice his size in what is the largest weight difference shift of his career. Tank is at the gym at the beginning of the video, getting ready to spar one of his heavyweight opponents. Tank is then observed using a boxing technique that he has never used before once sparring begins.
Oh, there you go. 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 Take deep breath when you want. Take deep breath. Right.
Everyone at Tank's camp has been expressing the same sentiment about how different he is from other training camps ever since he returned last week. That button seems to have been pressed. When Lamont pressed it, a Tank I had never seen before appeared. Work, work, and more work, no smiles. In an interview with Mill City Boxing, assistant coach Kenny Ellis said this regarding Tank.
Nice, clean, crispy shots, like the first fight, you know? Mm-hmm. I mean, I can't speak on what I seen, but the fight will be different.
He was too strong for the sparring partner he was given. Gervonta Davis appeared to be too skilled, too fervent, and too irate to have spent more than 2 minutes in the ring with the man. Tank and Jake Paul shared a similar stature and fighting style, but minutes into their first round, Tank continued to emerge as a pressure fighter with greater strength, speed, and accuracy, sending his opponent to the ground. Only one of the other sparring partners who were present managed to advance past the fourth round.
He's swinging for the fences.
Oh, that's the hook.
In an interview following the sparring sessions, Calvin Ford implied that, despite being Tank's trainer, he is afraid of him and advised Jake Paul to prepare for a fierce opponent on fight night. Tank's fans were ecstatic when the footage appeared on social media. To ensure that their favorite wouldn't let them down, they needed something to cling to and have faith in. And, as the comment section makes clear, his most recent sparring session was exactly the kind of sight that reignited enthusiasm among his admirers. Between
Look like you're playing pool with a short stick.
Fall in between him.
Fall in between him. Punch when he punch, girl. Punch when he punch. Punch when he punch. Yep. They ain't stopped firing. We slowed down. Now we're gonna commence firing again. That's what we do. We reload and come back.
We gotta get closer, man.
Yeah, you ain't gotta get close, man, because we know you're scared to get close. Get close, man. Keep rolling, Cal. All the way down the road. Come to me, baby. Get low.
On fight night, picture doing all of these to Jake Paul. A slow start is not what I want. From the first round, we want to watch Tank in action. He can cause Paul to tire out too soon. He doesn't need to be studied anymore. In the first game, he had already studied him. One admirer wrote, "We want a knockout." Another said, "I bet it with anyone." Tank prevails in this bout, but the judges aren't making a decision. I'm anticipating the real Gervonta Davis back in November, but we'll see what Jake Paul has to offer. Things I love to see, a third person commented. Before the rematch, I hope he can discover who he is. Any iteration of Jake Paul is defeated by a driven and committed Tank. This is something that only casuals would contest. That night, we need the correct version of Tank. It's great to see Calvin Ford back with Tank, a fan said after spotting him skulking around. Tank's winning secret is in his possession. I'm confident Gervonta Davis wins when he returns. Tank feels that everything about the rematch is perfect. A loss can occasionally be a blessing. We'll wait and see on August 16th. Additionally, he cautioned Jake Paul that his size advantage would be of little value on fight night because to the skill discrepancy. The fight's sole drawback is that it's an exhibition, and the differences are illogical. Jake Paul was then advised by Joe Rogan to choose the appropriate fights. Fight with respectable fighters in his weight class, emphasizing that you don't become a boxing voice by using shortcuts.
You know, faking, you taking pictures of everything you do, and then like round 3, round 4, he starts to fucking he's dialed in, he's slipping, pop, pop, pop.
He's got special power too. His power's special.
And he's mean too.
Yeah. Mean is a big part of it, isn't it?
I think having that dog, being mean is like the biggest part in it, you know?
Really?
In being
Joe Rogan had rendered his judgment on the fight, but the majority of the discussion had previously focused on their enormous size disparity. Joe Rogan discussed the year's most anticipated boxing contest, Paul versus Davis, on the Fight Companion broadcast, describing it as strange. There, Gervonta Davis and Jake Paul are so crazy, he continued, pointing out the size contrast between them. 135 as opposed to 200. That is really insane. The podcast king then went on to discuss the nature of this battle. They are displays. What does that mean? Brendan Shaw asked as a result. That implies that no one wins, Joe explained. It's peculiar.
You know, the conversation he had with Eddie Hearn, where he said, I will knock out any one of your guys that has under 10 fights. He goes, whoever you want to have, bring me any guy that you have that's under 10 fights. You can see Eddie Hearn, like, he's kind of stuck there.
You think?
Yep, because those guys under 10 fights, like, what if Jake Paul knocks one of them out? Like, what if you get a guy...
Gervonta Davis versus Jake Paul is sure to draw interest. However, the match is already being criticized by fans for heavily favoring the problematic child. Because Paul is taller and weighs more than 60 pounds than Davis, as Rogan suggested, the chances are in his advantage. Tank has a lot more experience in the ring, but can he use his abilities to make up for that enormous size difference? Only when the two eventually collide will we know. Another MMA veteran, though, has proposed a different matchup. Paul's opponent, according to former UFC flyweight champion Demetrius Johnson, would have been Darren Till rather than the lightweight champion of the World Boxing Association. Let's now explore Mighty Mouse's thoughts.
It hasn't been tested, maybe has some promise, maybe gets wrapped up in the hype, and maybe gets a little nervous. And this is his first chance at a big show. And Jake Paul can crack 100%. That knockout of Tyron Woodley is legit as He can crack.
Tyron Woodley is not a boxer.
Yep.
One thing immediately comes to mind when you mention Gervonta Davis. Raw power to smash bones. Tank has a 30-1 record with 28 KO victories, demonstrating his ability to send opponents into the shadow realm despite his little physique. However, something strange happened during his most recent championship defense against Lamont Roach Jr., which caused Joe Rogan to question his skills and temporarily dissuade him from fighting Jake Paul. Instead, Joe Ryan would have preferred a rematch with Lamont Roach. Davis not only stumbled against the opponent, but at one point he fell to his knees. A knockdown is often given when a boxer falls to their knee, but Roach Jr. didn't receive one. Joe Rogan doesn't believe Davis's claim that his hair products caused the literal slip-up after the fight finished in a draw.
Pitbull Cruz, talk to us about a little about this fight. A little bit surprised from the fans, from their saying, but talk to us about this fight. What are you expecting from Pitbull?
I'm expecting Pitbull to be Pitbull, relentless, firefighter. So we're gonna see. How well I tame him.
The big question here is, that rematch versus Gervonta.
Joe Rogan claimed Davis blamed his draw against Lamont Roach Jr. on his hair product in JRE episode 2286 with former professional football player Antonio Brown, which the podcaster thought was rather ridiculous. According to Rogan, Davis should put winning first as a champion, even if it means shaving his head. There were some in Tank's eyes. However, while you are competing for a world title, what are you doing to your hair? That's absurd, Rogan remarked. In response to the podcaster's remarks, Brown added that a champion needs to maintain focus and perform flawlessly under duress.